Tonight, PM off to chair London International Sugar Meeting. Local composers granted 8.9% royalty increase. And the President delivers Fiji's message on HIV and AIDS to the world. Prime Minister Commodore Vorengez Bainimarama leaves the country this weekend for the United Kingdom. While there, he will chair the International Sugar Organization meeting to be held in London. The meeting will also allow the local industry to benchmark itself against some of their global counterparts.
The ongoing reforms in our sugar industry will be discussed at the International Sugar Organization Council meeting to be held in London that starts early next week. Prime Minister Bainimarama's attendance also marking 12 months since he was appointed as chairman of the global sugar body.
It's been 1 year now since he was elected chair, and this is a very important organization because it has as its members all sugar producing countries in the world, and a lot of important informations are being shared with regards to sugar production, sugar marketing, and the demand for sugar in general.
Mara says this ISO meeting will also be an opportune time for the local industry to get some fresh insight and perspectives from other major sugar producers.
We often, through the medium of these meetings and discussions and seminars that are held on the margins of this meeting, learn about of innovative ways that are being used by other countries or other companies that are producing sugar on improving production and also increasing efficiency in the mills.
This global meeting, according to Mara, also vital for ongoing industry reforms here at home.
A lot of challenges being faced by the sugar industry around the world, and it's of immense pride to me, this mission, and for Fiji as a whole, that we have our Prime Minister chairing this session in a very important period where sugar producing nations are looking at production formulations and also the market strategies that we can adopt.
As chair of next week's ISO Council meeting, Bainimarama will also oversee the election of a new executive director for the global body. Jeffrey Smith, Fiji One News.
The sudden change in the weather may have led to an unusual weather phenomenon this morning. At Narere outside Suva this morning, some residents were awoken to the sound of a passing hailstorm. For those who were brave enough to come outside, this is what they found: little pieces of ice that landed in their yards. The Nandi Weather Office says this is not unusual, especially when there is a combination of heavy thunderstorms and a drop in temperature. Local musical composers and artists will soon receive an 8.9% increase in royalties they receive for their work. This is after the Fiji Performing Rights Association agreed to the proposed increase at their annual general meeting today. Joe Vukailangi with the details.
Composers of some of our popular songs on our airwaves coming together today to sing a different tune. A tune that will soon see them getting them a little more for their hard work.
The board had proposed to the membership an increase of 8.9% in the royalty for the fiscal year 2013. And that meant a rise from $225,000 royalty, which was distributed yesterday, to $245,052. And the membership were quite happy because it simply means an increase in the royalty that they will have to share.
For TV, radio and entertainment centers owners, this means that they will have to fork out a little more when it comes to payment of royalties next year.
Because we license both local and the foreign repertoire. So it's for all this music that we are licensing the business owners for, who utilize music to enhance their business. So it simply means the fundamental equation is that music is used a lot. It's used a lot more in business enterprises now.
But for now, these composers are happy with the 8.9% increase in royalties they will receive.
Who wouldn't be happy with a bit more increase or with a heavier pay packet? So they're quite happy with what they received yesterday, and the fact that it's going to be 8.9% more next year.
Yesterday, FIPRA paid $225,000 of royalties to more than 500 members. Lami, Fiji One News.
The Minister for Defence, Chokitani Dhokanasinghe, has started his official visit in China. He is accompanied by the military's Chief of Staff, Brigadier General Mohammed Aziz, and Navy Commander John Fox, along with 3 other senior officials. They are being accompanied by Fiji's ambassador to China, Esala Teleni. The ministerial delegation visited the 1st Signal Regiment military camp in Guangzhou. The delegation departed for Qingdao today and will visit Beijing, where Dhokanasinghe will meet his counterpart, General Chang Wan-Kwan. Paperwork is what stands between the Lami Town Council and its plans to get several major capital projects off the ground. With pending projects now before the Ministry of Local Government, Lami Special Administrator Jasper Singh says the town is now on the verge of major developments, if only it can overcome the paperwork standing in its way.
It's a small town with big plans, but it's been a frustrating slog so far for Lami this year.
This year, I must admit, things has not moved as much as I would like it to be, but we have got a lot of projects. We have informed our ministry, which is the Ministry of Local Government, that we have got projects that are pending. For example, is the Senior Citizens Park. We are waiting for the Lands Department to give us the final approval so that we can complete the park. We can complete the park in, say, in 3 months. So it could be a senior citizens park, first for Lami, and something that the senior citizens are really looking forward to.
One of its major developments also still pending is the redevelopment of its old dump site.
We've got the recreational park, or the Lami Fun Park, which is the final acquisition or the taking over of the old dump site, as you probably heard. That will be a very, very big project. That's also with the ministry. Also the upgrading of Johnny Singh Park, that's also with the ministry.
The setting up of a New Zealand IT firm in Lami also likely to boost the town.
The signing will take place next week between our New Zealand counterpart and Lami Town Council.
But for now, it's paperwork that remains their biggest challenge.
As you know, there's a lot of paperwork. The hardest part is not the construction. The hardest part is the first step, which is the paperwork, and that's what is holding us back. I have a meeting pending with the Minister of Local Government. The faster I see him, the faster we'll get all these projects up and going.
Lami Town has $300,000 owed to it by ratepayers. Jeffrey Smith, Fiji One News.
In the news ahead, Fiji Fashion Week expands to PNG, and witness the birth of a new island. President Ratuepeli Nailatikau has told the 11th International Congress on AIDS in Asia and the Pacific that more work still needs to be done on awareness. Ratuepeli told the international conference being held in Thailand that Fiji has risen to the challenge of removing legal barriers to effective HIV programs, as well as tackling stigma and discrimination through legal reforms. He told delegates how Fiji has become the first Pacific Island country with colonial-era sodomy laws to formally decriminalize sex between men when it passed the Fiji National Crimes Decree in February 2010. A year later, the HIV/AIDS decree was enacted. Ratuepeli says this was internationally compliant in addressing the human rights violations that acted as barriers to Fiji's HIV response. The decree, according to the president, has also removed HIV-related restrictions on entry, stay and residence, adding Fiji to a growing list of countries that are aligning their national HIV laws with international public health standards. But Ratuepeli told the conference that the work in Fiji in this area is still far from over. He says we need to continuously review and renew our efforts and our commitments on our responses to HIV and AIDS. Fiji Fashion Week is now expanding across the Pacific. After its resounding success here at home, organizers of the annual event are now taking it to Papua New Guinea, and already the interest from PNG has been strong.
After years of strutting their designs on our catwalk here, Fiji Fashion Week is ready to go regional.
The show that we have for Papua New Guinea is on Wednesday, the 27th of November at the brand new Cosmopolitan Club in the Vision City Mall in Waigani, Port Moresby.
And where better to take local designs to than to the resource-rich PNG's booming capital city of Port Moresby.
There are 15 designers in total. 2 or 3 are from Papua New Guinea, 1 is Tab from the Cook Islands, and the rest are international designers based in Fiji, I'd like to explain them as. We've received warm reception in Port Moresby.
This regional foray by Fiji Fashion Week into Papua New Guinea also elevates regional fashion with the potential of uncovering some new Pacific designers.
Papua New Guinea is the first. After Papua New Guinea, there is talks with Ellen Arlo in Samoa for a fashion week to be held in Samoa as well. And we have also had interest from Kiribati, we've had interest from Tahiti, and this is all very exciting for Fiji Fashion Week and for fashion enthusiasts in the Pacific.
All this is also expected to culminate in the inaugural Pacific Fashion Show to be hosted here in October next year, and a chance for local designers to showcase their handiwork.
I think the decision of having a fashion week there, it's really, really good, and I'm sure with the way they have managed to do fantastically over here in Fiji for this many years, the PNG show and the rest shows they are planning is going to be as good as they do it here.
The interest in PNG also reflected by just how fast the idea has attracted interest there.
What takes us months of lobbying and advocacy and networking to do here took her more or less a week to get confirmed. So that is an indication to us that Papua Moresby and Papua New Guinea as a country is ready for fashion.
Jeffrey Smith, Fiji One News.
The province of Kangaroos has pledged their support towards the Nduavata Community Policing Initiative. It was launched by the Minister for Fisheries, Colonel Inia Seruiratu, who congratulated the efforts by the Fiji Police and the Vanua of Kangaroos in working together to make the island of Kangaroos safe for its people and visitors. Colonel Seruiratu, while addressing elders, went on to remind them of their important role as leaders in today's fast-changing society. The launching ended with the unveiling of a billboard declaring the province of Kangaroos as the latest rural community to take on the Nduavata Community Policing Initiative. The chiefs present also signed a declaration of support towards the initiative. An overcast capital city this morning played host to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Diplomatic Corps Fun Day. The day-long event saw members of the Diplomatic Corps interacting on the sports field. The annual event is organized to foster good relationships and mutual understanding between the diplomatic community here in the country. Family members were also out to enjoy themselves. The annual sports day is also a rare chance for diplomats to get to know foreign affairs officials here on a more personal basis, away from the normal formality of the office. An eruption by an undersea volcano has created a new island off the coast of Japan. Footage from Japan's Coast Guard shows the island's dramatic birth. This was in an area known for its seismic activity in part of the Pacific's rim of fire. The island is about 200 meters wide and now joins a new island chain 1,000 kilometers south of Tokyo. Experts are watching to see if the island survives further explosions or just erodes away. Ahead in sports, Kangaroos weary of Bati speed out wide. And England's batting collapse as Australia takes first Ashes test. Fiji Mbati coach Rick Stone has kept the faith with his winning lineup from last week. Stone is convinced players who impressed against Samoa will step up to the challenge again tomorrow.
We'll go in with the same 17 who played last week. Just got to check a few blokes tomorrow, but at this stage, yeah, that'll be the case. So it gives us some continuity, and first time we'll probably play the same team back to back in this tournament.
The Fiji Mbati mentor believes Australia can be toppled tomorrow, particularly if they counter their orchestrator.
The most important start for us around the ruck where Cameron Smith dictates the game for the Australians and has a lot of ammunition with big boys coming and big boys coming off, and as soon as he creates a little bit of play the ball speed, then the rest of the team sort of ignites and goes into gear. So the better we can handle Cameron Smith and his forwards, and the better we can handle their go forward in the middle, we'll minimise the space and opportunities they're going to have out wide.
Fiji faces Australia in the second semi-final at the Rugby League World Cup at 4:30 a.m. on Sunday. You can catch live coverage of this match exclusively on Fiji One. The popularity of the Vodafone Fiji Mbati in the United Kingdom has been overwhelming. The side, who have spent almost 6 weeks in England for the Rugby League World Cup, have brought together a Fijian diaspora who've been unwavering in their support.
They've been everywhere, and the growing Fijian diaspora in the UK have received the Fiji Mbati with open arms.
We have a strong and quite a sizable diaspora community here. We estimate the numbers to be around 30,000. These are people that came from the 1960s, either to join the British Army or play rugby league. And they've been added on to, this number been added on to over the years, people coming in to study, staying over, and the recruitment into the British Army is a huge component of our diaspora community here.
The progress of the team at the Rugby League World Cup won't only benefit the sport, but more so Fiji's reputation in the UK.
I'm immensely proud in the way that they've carried themselves on and off the field here in the UK, particularly where they've been located up in the Midlands, because this is an area where Fiji is not very much well known in terms of tourism promotion and investment promotion. So the Fiji Mbati's performance and presence up in the Midlands has created a lot of positive buzz, not only amongst our own diaspora community, but the English community in general.
This weekend, the Mbati will be the first Fiji sporting team to play at the iconic Wembley Stadium, yet another of the many sporting achievements in the UK.
I'm quite happy in terms of sporting achievements that have been recorded here in the UK. The Olympics last year, we managed to secure our first gold medal in any Olympics, the first of many, I believe. And again, you know, like we're going to witness the Fiji Mbati in the Wembley Stadium.
Hasanatu Weningolo, Fiji One News.
While the Mbati cancelled their semi-finals captain's run, the Kangaroos have gone ahead at Wembley. Injured Kangaroos fullback Billy Slater has returned to training but will sit out the semi-final clash. His absence at the back against Fiji is offset by having South Sydney superstar Greg Inglis shift back to his pet position.
You saw it in the England game when the first half it was 6-all after 40 minutes, and a couple of things got away from them, but I think Fiji have improved since then as well. They've had a game since then, and so you know, in dry conditions it suits them. I'd like to think it suits us as well, so it should be an interesting game out wide.
Greg Inglis and Sonny Bill Williams will battle it out for the title of the world's best rugby league player. They're joined by Scotland halfback Danny Brough. SBW is tipped to win the title, but the focus at the moment is in the semi-final against host England at Wembley.
It'll be a real physical contest. I know the scorelines haven't indicated that, but if you ask the lads, the game against Samoa, the game against France, Papua New Guinea, and obviously last week against Scotland, there were periods of the game where they were really putting it to us.
Meanwhile, England have replaced Rangi Chase with Gareth Widdop for the World Cup semi-final against New Zealand. The hosts certainly are feeling the pressure.
World Cup, on home soil, certainly be my last World Cup, so I think for all our guys, there's a number that have played in a semi-final before, but it wasn't in this country, and to be here at Wembley.
New Zealand meet England tomorrow at 2 a.m. in the first semi-final, followed by Fiji and Australia at 4:30 a.m. Watch the matches live only on Fiji One. Tries by centres Owen Williams and Ashley Beck gave Wales an uninspiring win over gutsy, hard-grafting Tonga at Cardiff's Millennium Stadium. All the scores came in the first 34 minutes as Williams broke clear and Beck defied the touchline, while Leigh Halfpenny kicked 7 points. London Wasps Will Helu struck back with a memorable Tongan try converted by Latiume Fosita, but the second period was defence-dominated, dour and scoreless. The bar soccer team thumped Savusavu New Zealand 7-0 in the Pacific Cup last night. In other matches played in Auckland, Lambasa beat Queensland 1-0, while Nandi beat Suva 1-0. And England's batting collapse in Brisbane has gifted the first Ashes Test to Australia. The tourists lost 6 wickets for 9 runs in 10 overs as they crumbled from 82 for 2 to 136, all out on day 2. Earlier, Australia put on a stunning fight back.
Having dismissed Australia for 295, you could excuse England for thinking they were in the box seat. But this supposed belter of a pitch wasn't playing the visitors' way either.
There it is, he's got a wicket.
Alistair Cook gone, Jonathan Trott would follow on the stroke of lunch. Michael Carberry left to provide a steady presence in his second test and second coming. It's the 33-year-old's first international showing since suffering a blood clot on the lung in 2010.
That's fine, that's 4.
Kevin Peterson couldn't avoid the sledging in his 100th test and lived dangerously. But Peter Siddle's drop wouldn't be too costly.
And gone, what a brilliant catch!
The visitors suddenly 82 for 3. Mitchell Johnson would make it 87 for 4. Carberry gone for 40. Could Ian Bell, England's hero of the last Ashes, lead a recovery?
And there's another shout, he's gone!
So no. How about Matt Pryor?
And another one, is it another one?
That's a yes. Australia's villain of the moment, Stuart Broad, surviving Nathan Lyon's hat-trick ball. Joe Root wouldn't survive Johnson. England losing 6 wickets for just 9 runs, in utter disarray before tea. And to think, just last night, they'd been ecstatic.
And bowls in!
Broad, or the smug Pommy cheat, as one Brisbane paper labelled him, finishing day 1 with a fifer and a flippant response to fans who chanted insults at him.
I'm pleased my mum wasn't in the stadium, but yeah, to be honest, I was singing along at one stage. It sort of it gets in your head and you find yourself whistling at the end of your mark.
He'd add Ryan Harris to his tally today, while Brad Haddin ended the Aussie innings in farce, falling 6 runs short of his century, going for a second run that was simply never there. Broad almost indecently enjoying his role.
He's still a villain.
His 6 for 81, the best bowling figures for an Englishman at the Gabba since 1936. But the way this test is going, his efforts will very much be in vain.
Cloudy periods with afternoon showers and thunderstorms were experienced over most places today. A trough of low pressure remains slow-moving to the southwest of Fiji. Meanwhile, another trough affects Tonga and Niue. And that's Fiji One News. Thank you for joining us. Good evening.